Every day as the sun rises, we set out to provide our share of sustenance. A person is a teacher, another one is a businessman, another one is a worker, and so on. Although God is the giver of everything that anyone ever has, we all know that as long as we have the ability, we need to strive for it in order to provide our share. However, nobody is safe from the unpredictable problems that come up in their lives, such as death, illness, debt, and so on. But even assuming that people can keep safe from these problems their entire lives, old age and its consequences is always a concern. Fragility, exposure to illness, and the inability it brings to people, preventing them from providing for themselves, and parents having to ask their children to carry the burden of taking care of them is something that everybody wants to avoid. The solution seems to be that a person has to save every day of his or her life for this day of need, so that he or she will have enough money in his or her old age to make ends meet. But is it possible for everybody to save? No. Many people don't even have enough money to live through the day, let alone save a part of it. Although there have always been people helping others in need, it took many centuries for the lawmakers to take out policies that made sure employees or workers received a convenient amount of money and service when they retired. What if I told you that many centuries back, the Muslims benefited from rules that protected the old and the disabled? Muhammad became the prophet of God in the Arab Peninsula, people earned their livings through commerce, through livestock breeding, a little bit of agriculture, and even some of them lived on spoils of wars. But after the emergence of Islam, the government revenue was kept in a public treasury, and everybody had a share of it, including non-Muslims who worked for the betterment of the Muslim community. The social security pattern of that time required that the expenses of a person in his old age be extracted from his savings in his young age. Otherwise, his family would be responsible for him. And if he didn't have a family to take care of him, providing for this person, Muslim or non-Muslim, would become the responsibility of each and every individual of the society. One day, Ali came across a beggar on the street. He asked his companions about him, and they said that he was Christian. Ali became furious and said, "How is this fair that when this man was young, you benefited from his working in your community, but now that he is old and disabled, you leave him on his own?" Then Ali ordered the people to provide that man with pension arrangements. Also in his rule, in a letter to Malik Ashtar, Ali wrote, "Always consider the consent of God when dealing with the disadvantaged, because they have nowhere else to turn to. When dealing with the disabled, the ill, the people who have a lot of problems in their lives, for the sake of God, allow them the right that God has given them. Share among them a sum of the public treasury and of the lands that are allotted to the government in every city. Treat them all with equity. Hold yourself responsible. Hear their voices. Do not neglect them. Tend to the orphans and the elderly who need help, but then hesitate to ask for it."